from outside, somebody's gonna stand there and be like, yo, look, the people are complaining about crime, and look what we got. They elected Eric Adams to be their mayor.
That is, I mean, I'm so glad you brought that up. It went from, as we said, it was a joke, but it was really in sadness. Last year was defund the cops. This year it's refund the cops. So much so you have America's top cop as the vice president. Now you have New York's top cop as the mayor.
If you wanna see good news, you don't see on regular TV. From another perspective, something relative to your needs. And we gonna have deep subjects, and we gonna turn the lens. And there's no topic we won't skip. So please don't miss weekly, Tune in to check in, weekly check.
We are talking to Brother Afrika, historian, sociologist, and activist, about all things that matter, current affairs and issues on Arc Republic. We're going to get hyper specific. I always talk to Dame Crawford about what's going on in Los Angeles. You are my East Coast connect. So even though this is not Newark specific, it's NYC tri-state area specific. Recently, or I would say in January, New York, there was the swearing in of another mayor, Eric Adams, who is an African-American man from Brooklyn. From Brooklyn, a 20-year cop who has a brother who was a 20-year cop. Mayor Adams, what is it? He retired as a captain for New York Police Department. He's been in office for, roughly 2 months or something like that, not even 2 months. And there is some things going on. Do you think that Eric Adams, we know what your critique is. Okay, we already know what your critique is going to be.
Yeah.
Let's talk about I'm
gonna tell you why.
Okay, all right, okay. Let's talk about, because I mean there's several things that are already he's embroiled in controversy. With the Bronx fire that happened in January, and the 17 people who died, 8 of them children. Come to find out that one of his onboarding council members was the owner, the co-owner of the building. But Eric Adams, he calls himself the real estate man. And it's really interesting. I know we said Jay-Z already, but you remember JC says, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman.
Yeah, I'm a
right.
business.
This is along these same lines. All right, I'm gonna give it up. I'm gonna let you go ahead. Explain to us who Eric Adams is in your eyes.
Eric Adams is an institutionalist. I mean, like when they hire these people, they hire people that they're comfortable around, people that they've conditioned to do what they desire. He's been in the police department his entire life. He's worked with these people his entire life. So he understands the culture, he understands what the superiors want. And like we got to go back for a little. We got to go back before Eric Adams. We just had a whole summer. We had a whole COVID pandemic era when people were in the streets in New York, everywhere, especially in New York. I still got videos, people sending me from rallies getting beat by the police, and they're demanding for police accountability. People forgot about it, but we had Occupy in New York. I was here for that shit, like in 2012. 2011. My children grew up in Occupy. My wife used to take them there. We even had an Occupy in North. All these things that Black people have been fighting for, they have an election and you get an Eric Adams, an institutionalist police officer, a cop's oink cop. This is who you get to be the mayor of all those Black people. But now you see, now, I'm going to tell you why I don't mess with electoral politics. Because like from outside, somebody's going to stand there and be like, yo, look, the people are complaining about crime, and look what we got. They elected Eric Adams to be their mayor.
That is, yeah, I mean, I'm so glad you brought that up. It went from, as we said, it was a joke, but it was really in sadness. Last year was defund the cops. This year it's refund the cops. So much so you have America's top cop as the vice president. Now you have New York's top cop as the mayor, you know, who hiring his brother, who's another top cop. So, you know, and NYPD has a notorious, as you said, you talking about the, even before the George Floyd protest.
But they killed Abner Louima. You could go all the way. Yo, they killing people left and right. Even before I was born, they was killing people. But we have to understand how politics work. Now, how do you get a Eric Adams? Yo, people think like you just at home and then boom, the election come up, people get up and they go vote. Nah, it don't work that way. That's not how election work. Yo, they have bosses, political bosses in all communities that go out and gather votes. They gather votes from the church. They gather votes from senior citizens. Like their job on a year-round basis is to gather votes, your churches and all these people. So when it's time to run for office, the politicians come pay those people for those votes because everybody don't vote. The majority of the people that live in that space don't vote. So they load 10, 20%, 15%, sometimes 3% of the voters that they have in their phones, that they could just reach out to on their phones and go over there and go give little treats, give trips to casinos, or help them out when they come down to City Hall. They go get all those people and they send buses to take those people to go vote. So who supported Eric Adams when he came to come run? Go look at all the people that supported him, all the people in those local communities that supported him. They gave Eric Adams that mayoral shit, whatever. And then the other people that was running against him, none of them stood with the people. None of them went back in the people. So who are you to go vote for if you went in there to vote? Do you vote for this institutionalist that is a cop, a pig, or oink? Or do you vote for these people that you don't even know, that you know work for corporate media, or all these people that sell the people out? You have no choice, so you don't go. So the people that vote is the people that they have in their database that they go out and bring to the voting stations, and they go out there and vote. Whoever got the most people in their data, that's how you win. I mean, so like the people don't pick these people. Now you get Eric Adams in there. And what is he talking about? This talking about going back to the 90s and 80s. Police officers with no uniforms on, with nothing on, like having this private Gestapo groups to go inside the hood, the communities in the hood, not to go inside the NFL commissioner stuff, not to go deal with the Giants or the Jets, not to deal with Wall Street, but he's going to hire these people with guns that we just saw open the door and kill that young boy 22 while he was sleeping on that couch. He's going to go get these people to come in our communities now. And he could stand there and tell us he's doing it for our benefit. And there's nothing we could do about it because we don't control the system. This is their system. I mean, Eric Adams is who they wanted. They want him in there to continue to terrorize our communities. That's why he's there. What did he say when the building burned down and those people died? He didn't hold.
Should have closed the door or something like that.
No, they didn't have no ventilation. They didn't have no ventilation. They didn't have no fire alarms. They didn't have nothing in those buildings that those superintendents, the building owners, whatever they were supposed to do, they didn't do it. But he blamed the people, the poor people that was living there, instead of holding those people. Yo, these people just killed more than 18 people. I think it was 1920 people that died in that fire. And none of them, nobody, even though we see there's a record of negligence, none of them is going to be held accountable. But I guarantee you they're still in that community locking people up for weed, locking people up for little petty stuff. I mean, like, this is the kind of system that we're dealing with. So before anybody even asks me, what do you think about Eric Adams? I don't even have to go do all this research to know his history, that he's been part of the police, that he's been doing this, I don't need to know none of that. I know they would never hire anybody that would actually transform the society for the people that pay the taxes to keep the society running. Because
but it's important. But see, this is the thing. I know it sounds like sometimes you are, on repeat, right? But you provide the context of somebody like how an Eric Adams not only could be come out, because they were like, he's somebody that came out of nowhere. He didn't come out of nowhere, which you just explained. He didn't come out of anywhere, right? He's heavily funded by real estate firms. What's going on right now in New York? As we already know, it's a huge takeover. Harlem, Brooklyn, parts of Queens, all these black and brown spaces, these spaces that used to be low income, government housing, all of these things are now being purchased and bought by these investment firms and turning them into these luxury condos, you know. So this is how somebody like an Eric Adams can and as you said, these people are how do I want to say, these people are part of a Rolodex or are watched or surveillance and groomed over the years, right? And so this is there, to me, there's no coincidence that after all of the protests, you get somebody, this is what they did, that's presenting as if he really wants reform in the what do you call this, in the police department. You didn't want you didn't want it while you were in the police department because you retired out with pension. If you really want to, that would not have happened. You nor your brother, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, so it's important because there is this ongoing. This has been for generations. This ongoing idea of you can change the system from within. A system is designed to be a system for a reason. It is supposed to not change. That's the very core of the idea of a system.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Arc Republic. If you like what you see and you like what you hear, you can actually keep this mothership going. How? You can make a tax-deductible donation in several ways. One, Cash App us at Arc Republic Media. And you can also go on our website, arcrepublic.com/donate. As well, you can also donate to our fiscal sponsor and our sister organization at Black Farmers Index, that is Cash App, or also go onto their website, blackfarmersindex.com. We are two Black women-owned media organizations who share our profits so folk can thrive.
You know what I'm saying?
But who's been repeating it? It's been the Black leadership in position to get our people to hear their message. Yo, they silence you. If you are speaking from a revolutionary perspective, they will cut your mic. You're not going to go on any shows. Yo, you will never see Farrakhan on any of these major shows anymore. They learned. They silenced Farrakhan. They silenced Malcolm X. They silenced all these people. And I mentioned these people because the white supremacy, like the way they talk, their language, their philosophy is so contradictory to what they want portrayed for the people to take in. So like the last of the Mohicans is Farrakhan from that prior generation.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about like personalities that people can readily understand, like from a liberal. You are not the average person. If you walk outside right now and you ask anybody, do you know Farrakhan? They're gonna be like, yeah. So like I'm saying, they know these, they know. Go ahead. What you about to say? You like?
No, I'm listening. I'm holding my comment and I'm listening.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know the word right now, but they instinctually know these people because they've been so accessible to them. Mm-hmm. So like what's his name? Who would I want to say they wouldn't allow to speak? What's his name? Yashili, what's his name? The Black is Back Coalition. We were talking about him the other day.
Omali, Yeshitala.
Omali. Now you walk outside, people don't know him.
Right.
He would never be on CNN.
Right.
You would like that's why I said like the last of the Mohicans. It's like Farrakhan, where people still know about him, whatever. But he's not even allowed on them spaces no more. I think they took away all his social media platforms. So if you don't fit their narrative, you're not getting the ability to reach our people and tell them anything. Mm-hmm. They will cut your mic ASAP. And we sit here and we just get all this information, all these ideas on how to be Black, how to be successful, because we don't know. The majority of people don't know. They're suffering. They're wondering why their kids can't go outside without getting shot. And as soon as something happened, they bring Killer Mike and they put him right there on the podium. They be like, Killer Mike, tell them not to burn up Atlanta. They bring T.I., tell them not to burn up Atlanta. Even though Killer Mike got a shirt on.
Them girls. Okay.
Yeah, even though Killer Mike got on a shirt that said kill your masters, while he's standing at the podium telling the people not to go burn up the masters' stores. I mean, like, but it's like they wouldn't bring nobody up there that's gonna be like, yo, you're supposed to burn all that shit. Malcolm said burn all that shit. Malcolm said burn all this stuff to the ground. He like, that's the voice of the oppressed. That's what Malcolm said, but they won't bring nobody like that in those spaces. So what we get is filtered neo-colonialism, neoliberalism, neo-whatever. We get the Uncle Tom rhetoric to come to us. So now I'm thinking as a child growing up, all I gotta do is keep my head down, go to school, get a college degree, and move to Livingston, move to Shore Hills, move to the suburbs, and I'm gonna be okay. Because that's what they told me. They told me, just go to college, get your college degree. But they don't tell you about all the other people saying, nah, we need to organize and build our own institutions. They wouldn't allow that. Because right now.
Or the people who actually did that and said it was the biggest mistake of my life, right? Because me and there's this sister, she's part of all these conversations. She and I talk extensively about the erasure of Black people when they move to the suburbs. When you move to the suburbs, you have no political power, you have no economic power, because most people are just struggling to keep up and act as if they're on the same, level of people who have generations of wealth that was, stolen or, I mean, honestly, theoretically, yes, it all is stolen, even if there was no thief, in your family. But if we're talking about, from anyway.
It's systematic. It's systematically done. The laws passed to benefit those people. Like the GI Bill, all those different laws are built to give you a foundation. And we just walk up there on like our first generation. We just walking like, I'm going to move in the suburbs. You working 25 hours a day trying to stay up with the Joneses, and you're killing yourself.
Right. And you don't, and then you don't have a relationship with your children. You know what I mean? But you are in every organization to make it appear and present as if you have it all together. You are a facsimile of the Cosby Show, right? And so they don't tell you about what the consequences are, and then your children grow up, and then you look at them one day and you say, who in the hell are you? Right? And they're like, well, who in the hell are you? So, okay, so we talk about that one. And then, so we also got to acknowledge that too, on top of the fact that the people that stay in the communities, my parents are one of those people. My mother was getting her PhD when I was gestating in the womb. She refused to do some things. And so she left the PhD program. That's a whole other story. And my parents live still in what is called South Los Angeles. And I remember, very vividly, my parents talking about when they decided to, buy a home in LA, a lot of the homes on the outskirts of Los Angeles, which were considered more of the favorable housing, and the suburban housing was where they were told, this is where you need to go. But they intentionally stayed within the community, and so that is very poignant, because even Malcolm X talks about, well, if you're going to be scared of your own, if you're going to be scared of your own people, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the point?
But that's that's the sacrifices. When you say people make sacrifices, because like you can't explain to nobody the stuff that come with making those decisions. You can't explain to them. We used to have kids. We had the nonprofit. We have kids spending the night at our house. One of the kids had bed bugs. We had to get rid of all our furniture. Look, those are little small things that add up to a lot, because you gotta get rid of your whole furniture. You don't have no money. You're trying to keep this stuff together. But I'm just like, that's one small thing. All the things that your parents had to deal with by staying in that community are all the sacrifices that people make on a daily basis to show like they can be another way. But our voices are not as strong as a Snoop Dogg. We don't have the platform of a Snoop Dogg. So while they're over there betraying us, there a whole bunch of people like your parents that stayed to hold the fort, but their stories are never told. Nobody ever tells their story because that's not how this media system works. That's not how the society works. They can tell their story, but I know their story. I'm gonna meet them one day.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely.
Hold up.
So, and I also want to say this, and I'm two things. One, in terms of like knowing stories and narratives and everything, and those who have means. One, I would say, not knowing how it all worked. There was a very clear, I would say, an underground. How do I want to say this? This is one of the reasons why, in my opinion, in the 70s, the 50s, and the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and some parts of the 70s, that you had more momentum is because a lot of these people or who had a little bit of means would silently fund you know what I mean? These campaigns and these organizations. That's why the FBI, people talk about Sammy Davis Jr., but Sammy Davis Jr. was silently funding the Black Panther Party. You know what I mean? Harry Belafonte, the civil rights. Harry Belafonte was the only one that was out there, but there were quite a few people who would send cash payments to these organizations. We've lost that. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe they don't know, and this is like the lack of.
It's strategic. Yo, after the first group, like Sammy Davis and all these people giving money to this liberationist group, yo, they get smart. The FBI gets smart.
Right now, that's true.
They hold them accountable as well. And once they put a little pressure on them, all these athletes, entertainers, they have people around them to buffer them from, let's say, people like me that will come in there to speak to them. Like they only allow, like you could speak to somebody like me that says like, yo, I need you to build an institution on South Orange Avenue. We have the building, to help people get their life together. Or you get somebody else that come in and say, yeah, we need book bags at the school. For the first day of school, kids are going to school. Like, who are you going to donate to? Donating your money to the school for book bags to go to white supremacy schools, that's way easier. Like, you could get social credibility from that. But aligning yourself with the Black Panthers, that takes a little bit more heat that they don't want to face. So they're like, you know what? I'm going to go donate to the school for these kids to go over there. So now I get the social credibility. Like, look at me. I'm giving money for kids to go to school. I'm giving them book bags. I'm taking them school shopping. But you refuse to build the institutions that produce human beings that can deal with the system. But you're giving these kids book bags to go to these schools. And you look at it, most of our people don't know no better because they've been socialized by the same system. So they think these people are doing good. Right. They mean well. So now, they're like, yeah, man, what you call it, do for the people. LeBron, Jay-Z, and them, they do for the people. But that's not, you could tell them, man, you just got to build institutions. We got to organize and build institutions.
Right. And we haven't even gotten into, we started talking about it, but this whole socialization process of it happens in all industries where you create a world for these people to exist in and even their family members have little access. Part of specifically, I would say, the athletic world is this problem that they said that the athletes ran into when they would make money, but then they would be broke after 5 years, which is the average time, right? After they are, done playing, right? So thank you for finishing that up. Right. So and the idea is that how do we, so these educational classes in terms of how do you deal with family members and setting up all of these different things. So we also have to talk about that socialization process. I want to, though, however, for time, I don't want to, because it's Sunday. I have two questions, but let's end Eric Adams, right? So we were talking about Eric. We done skipped off of Eric. What does a person like Eric Adams means for Black and brown communities in the area?
It means a Donald Trump, because after Eric Adams, there's going to be somebody even worse, because they're going to be like, look, you had the black guy came in there. Look, none of this stuff worked. Let's try this reactionary stuff. Let's try to go all the way right wing. And you're going to get a Donald Trump. And then after Donald Trump, you're going to get a Biden. and then you might get a Donald Trump again. So it's like you got Eric Adams now, which is he's a neoliberal. He's gonna change nothing. He's gonna make everything worse. And after him, the people like the voters, those people that do vote, the reactionary racist white people gonna go in there and vote in a reactionary white person that seems to be worse than Eric Adams, but it's just like Eric Adams, just ignorant. So then after him, you're gonna find another. It's like it's cycle. It's a never-ending story. Because at the end of the day, these institutions must stay in place. They must maintain this stuff. They must stay erected. So they're not trying to change that. The only thing they're doing is playing on people's on our different stratification, on our different roles in society, our different castes. So they're gonna the culture game. They're gonna keep playing those games back and forth, and generation after generation. People forget. People don't even remember what happened last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. Yo, people have a memory the size of a goldfish. Like they don't remember nothing. You ask somebody a question, like man, look, it's gonna be the same over and over. Eric Adams is gonna go in there. He's not gonna do nothing. He's not gonna be successful. Everything is gonna be worse. He's about to bring back policies that we had to fight to get rid of. Then we're gonna have to fight to get rid of those policies. Yo, it's the circle. The circle continues, man. Like there's no winning that game. There's no winning electoral politics because they control it. It's a rigged game. I mean, like,
and that's what we've been talking about all afternoon: the rigged game of politics, the rigged game of sports.
Yeah, it's a rigged game, and we're just playing in it because we have no power. Yo, our power is walking away. I wish I could get people to visualize what I see in my mind, because in my mind I see institutions. I see like buildings. A building, like in my mind, I have in the picture, I see a building, and that building is an institution. Without no human beings going inside that building, it ceases to be of any value. It just sits there. That's how electoral politics, that's how their systems are. Their colleges, their schools, all these things are just buildings to me. Without people marching in there, walking in there, they're done. They cease to exist. That is why it is powerful to organize as a people and walk away from their institutions, because they mean nothing without us. Like we complain about the police, we complain about all of this. Yo, if we taught our kids not to take those jobs, not to participate in those industries, they wouldn't exist. I mean, if nobody's, it's all these black people in North, all these black and Spanish people in North. If we all didn't listen to the police, we didn't give a damn about the police, they wouldn't exist. It don't matter what they say. The police force, I don't care how many people they got on there. They don't have more people than the people in North. We are the people. We have all the power, but we have been conditioned to view reality through this narrow window that the power comes from the institution, and they just allow us to exist. Like we believe jobs are here not because it's a tool to help the way society is constructed, but it is here to help the individual. Like the individual need the company, needs the job. That's not how this thing works. That like, because we don't have no memory. We don't understand. They never used to take money out your paycheck. All these things are new phenomena that people put together, that they went and signed a bill, other men and women like you and I, and they designed it where like you make $1, they taking out a certain percentage. I mean, these companies do not need to exist. They do not need to make all the overhead that they're making. They don't need to make none of this stuff. None of this is written by science or by whatever. It's written by men.
Man, yeah.
It's written by,
it's not God's law, it's man's law.
And we give it the power it has. So if they have an election thing and only 1% of the people vote, like everybody's gonna be looking like nobody even listened to that. Like, what are you talking about? That stuff is not credible. You see, that's why they need our people to go on them TV channels, to go everywhere and tell our people to go vote. They tell them, they don't never tell them to build our own. They don't tell them to organize and build co-ops where we're all mutually benefiting. They tell them to go vote, man. They tell them go get a job. I mean, like, these are the little idiotic things that they do to keep our people in the same position that we in. And we never succeed past that. It's time we try something else, yo. We have to try
and
something else.
I really am interested in what that looks like. And those are the conversations that we need to have, is move towards this, construction of what that is, because we know about the problems. We exist in the problems. We experience the problems. Hell, we are the problem in a lot of ways. So how do we work out of that? The last comment is yours, Brother Afrika.
Hey, like I always say, it's organizing, organizing, organizing. It may sound like it's something easy, but that's the hardest thing to do. And that's how the society has been designed to stop us from organizing. It's designed to stop you from going next door to talk to your neighbor. Like, God, keep calling me. But now, you have to read. You have to study. There is no magic pill. The only thing that we can do is learn where we've been, and then we can formulate a strategy to move forward. I know that stuff sounds simple. But I can explain to you what I read from Du Bois, and you understand it, and you put it inside your mind, and you start to understand where we need to move as a people. I really can't do that. I can explain his whole book. I can explain Fanon. I could explain Diop. I could explain John Henry Clark. I could go tell you all these books that I've read that guided the way I think. But until you do it yourself, because that's the first step. That's the first step in the revolution, in knowing something else and thinking a different way. Like I told you, if you're born in America and you went to school in America your whole life, you've been socialized by the American system, and that's all you know, you will be a neoliberal. You will be a liberal. You will be American. You will be out here cheering on the military that's committing war crimes. That's what you will be doing. But if you read the books of the people I just mentioned, don't listen to what people tell you about Malcolm. Go read Malcolm X for himself. Go watch the videos for himself, and then take what you hear Malcolm saying and then put that together with what the Black leadership of today are saying. You will see it is contradictory to each other. And then you will see how you can formulate a path for our liberation, not just your liberation, not your individual liberation, but all of our liberation. And when you get there, you will see why I'm saying organize. Because when I first started, I didn't understand what they used to tell me, organize, organize. I'm like, what the hell do they mean by organize? I didn't understand what they were saying. But what they're basically saying was come out of yourself and speak to the people in that space that you live in and formulate a strategy to liberate yourself. It is that basic. Once you start doing that, then you're gonna get the answers like, I'm not gonna have my homeschool for myself. I'm gonna decide to have a homeschool for everybody in the neighborhood. The community is gonna get together and say, we're gonna have homeschool to school our children in the community. Then they're gonna say, I'm not gonna go buy me a house for me to rent it out. You know what? The community needs to go put the money together as stockholders to buy that building, to buy that store, to buy these things in our area and give jobs to people in our area. All these ideas are going to start coming to you. You would never, they're going to come to you. You're going to see a commercial of somebody, an entertainer saying, you have to go vote this November. And you're going to look at that shit like, yo, this sounds so stupid. Because you would have came so far in your understanding of how politics and our society work to understand voting is waste of energy. Participating in their institution is a waste of energy. But me telling you that, yo, my daughter said that to me, yo. My daughter is 17. And I don't want to get into what we were talking about, but we were saying, somebody asked me a question and I told her, I looked at my daughter, I was like, yo, I'm going to tell him the answer, but he's still going to say but, or say something crazy, or say something else. So I looked at it and I told her. So after I told him the answer and the person walked away, I like, what I told you. She said, why should he listen to you? Who are you for him to listen to? I mean, like, even the way we take in information, we have to respect the person that's giving us that information. We have to see them from a different perspective. We have to see like they warrant that kind of authority to tell me what to do. That's how people are. That's how most of the people that I get in contact with are. There are a few people that will sit down and go do the work and study and learn it for themselves and go research it and then come back and say, it's a few, because they're really sincere in wanting to know. But most time people are not sincere in wanting to know. You see, that's why you build institutions, because you create new minds that are
Well,
willing.
once again, I got to table it because you went on a long ass dissertation.
I go on forever.
No. There's a lot of things that you said. Like this is something I said 2 conversations ago. I've heard it before. I've heard build institutions. I've heard read. I've heard all of that before. But the presentation of what that looks like, I'm still waiting.
It's hard. No, it's
you know what I'm saying.
It's hard to visualize because it's never really been done. No, I know you say you heard it, and people say like Black Wall Street, Black this, but like I'm gonna say it again. This is the bottom line. This is the bottom line. I'm gonna say it quick in like 30 seconds. 30
seconds.
Chancellor Williams said the same thing. Our problem is we've never come together collectively to mobilize our people to achieve the stuff that we want to achieve. Not each individual person.
But I know this. That's what I'm saying. We know this.
But how do we do it?
We know this. I am exhausted of existing in this idea of what we have not done, what we have been unable to do. I need some shit because we tired.
You gotta come to the Panther base. You gotta come.
I can come to that, and I'm gonna hear the same shit.
No.
Yes, I am. And I'm not saying. Hold on for a minute. I'm not saying I'm not coming. I'm not saying I'm not coming, and I'm not saying I'm not talking. But I'm saying is that I have not heard or seen anything differently, and I don't know if it's necessarily we do anything different. I don't know. And this is not me being, what's the word? Negative or like shitting
real
on people's stuff or whatever. I'm just being 100% spin the wheel. Like I can't spin the wheel right now. Right. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to spin the wheel. Right. I've been in a lot of these spaces and places. I grew up in a lot of these things. So the point is that we need to, I heard what you said in terms of taking over buildings and doing that. I've seen that before, and that's cool. And we need to continue to do that. I don't know if there's something that's missing. I don't know what it is. Right. And I'm not knocking the work that has been done. I can say this. The work that has been done in the past has been effective. What has not been properly addressed is that when it's counteracted, you know what I'm saying? Like when there's a lot of stuff that there's a whole laundry list and then some about what has happened. And I've seen it happen. I mean, on the massive corporate level, all the way down to the street level. We could talk about the dude, I think his name is Robert Fredericks, who was like this Black billionaire dude. Who started talking about, let's talk about racial inequalities. Next thing you know, the IRS coming to him and saying, oh, you've been siphoning money out of the thing, right? And next thing you know, he goes silent, right? All the way to, the work that you've been doing. And next thing you know, police running up into your spot. So that's, maybe that's an offline conversation to be had, but it's like, we know what we have not been unable to carry out and do. How do we kind of shift maybe the language or what we talk? I don't know. In order to,
they come no matter what you do. No matter what you do, if you're trying to disrupt the status quo, they're coming to get you.
Right.
Because like even Malcolm said it. I mean, what's the price of freedom? Death. No, it's like because like most people talk about revolution, liberation, but they don't understand like how serious this is. The price of liberation is death. You gotta be willing to go in that space. I mean, like, that's not saying you're gonna die. I mean, all this stuff is gonna happen to you. But if we don't have people with the courage to go face that, you're never gonna achieve. Because like right now, we have to get the people that are where we are to start fighting for themselves. That is our duty as the because we are the vanguard. You're the vanguard, you're the activist, you're the one in position to try to guide people, to help people. So like you have to be ready to stand in the face of all these racist, oppressive, and murderers, because they will kill you. You have to be, this is not a job for the faint of heart. This is serious business we're talking about. I know we smiling, we joking, we talking about all this stuff, but it's serious. And that's why these people don't cross that line. That's why all the Jay-Z's and all the different people, they stay on the side of white supremacy because they know what's on the other side. I mean, but it takes a special kind of person that believes life is more important than capital, that believe in something bigger than themselves. And you try to find strategies and ways to liberate yourself from the space that you're in. Now, but it can be done. It is just the people that have the courage to do it. And I believe the next step is using the people that are in those spaces to free themselves, not coming in and bringing in ideas of like what you want to do, what you're going to do, or marrying them with the system. That does nothing. You have to get those people to invest in themselves, and it can be done. We could do it.
Right. No, I'm not. I'm definitely saying, look, this, what we're talking about is a process that has been in the works for a very long time. Our ancestors set intentions in terms of the changing of the shift, way, way before we were even a thought, or maybe we were in another life time, right? I think one of the things that we do need to address very candidly is the abyss that happened between, I would say roughly, let's say the 90s and now, that has created this new class within the whole activist community of pariahs, perverts, predators, prophet pastors, and preachers, and con people that have also corrupted what it is. So there's a lot of institutional issues. There's these gatekeepers, but there are also these people, you know what I mean, that wear all of the garb and the goods, and they speak everything, but they are not, for our interest. 15 seconds. I got to go. It has been so good.
Got you.
I always give you the last word before I thank you. Last words, please, Brother Afrika.
Hey, last words. Yo, look, I'm at TikTok at All Power to the People. I'm on Instagram at Africa the G Nation. I'm at YouTube at All Power to the People. And I'm at Facebook at Maat, MAATMYS. This is the discussions we have. And I try to find people that see what I see, that believe we need a change, and are willing to sacrifice. I mean, that's all I do with my life. My purpose is Black liberation, and I align myself with people that believe in that we need to liberate ourselves. That's why I'm here with this sister. I mean, so if you feel that way, if you're ready, hey, subscribe. I've been telling all my friends to subscribe to the Ark Republic, and you will see the stories that she cover are not like what you would get from the mainstream media. They don't never talk about the side of the people on the plantation. Go look up her last few stories. You see what I'm talking about. I think I went over 15 seconds. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
If you wanna see good news, you don't see on regular TV. From another perspective, something relative to your needs. And we gonna have deep subjects, and we gonna turn the lens. And there's no topic we won't skip.